Welcome to another episode of Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news. We have some exciting, fun stuff to talk about today, and I'm joined here by my co host, the Viking.
What's up? How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, excited to talk about this new Superman deal with Michael B. Jordan. Looking forward to that, and especially Zack Snyder signing with Netflix. So good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. There's a lot of topics. So let's quickly jump on to the first topic we have here today, which is Superman and Lois returns with another episode, episode 13. You saw it. What do you think of it?
Yeah, so Superman and Lois now again after this episode is on a 3 week break. There's been a lot of breaks throughout this season. I think it's because the VFX team, the CGI with COVID, it's taken a bit longer to finish the episodes because of course everything is shot, but the VFX teams don't really work on the episodes until like a few weeks before they air. So I think that's maybe what's the problem. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're trying to drag it out because the CW network don't really have that many shows because of COVID delayed so many. So maybe that's why. But yeah, this episode was kind of interesting because there wasn't as much action in it, but it was kind of more of you know what if Superman turned evil, and do we need the weapons, and do we need the kryptonite to kill Superman if he ever goes bad? Because you know General Lane, Lois Lane's father, feels bad because his weapons nearly killed Superman. Like the Superman, who's the only kind of savior for Earth in case anything goes bad. And so there's kind of a thing going on where General Lane wants to get rid of the Kryptonian weapons that can kill Superman. But then Superman's thinking to himself, like, what if I ever did go evil? And, I think we need these weapons around. So Superman tells the government to keep the weapons around in case he ever does go bad. So but if anybody gets these weapons, if Lex Luthor was able to get them, Superman's dead. He's done. He's finished. So it's very, very interesting. Then you have Lois Lane, who of course is a journalist, but she can't tell the full story of what happened with Morgan Edge, with him putting Kryptonian consciousness into people because her her father was involved, her husband was involved as well, her friends were involved. So she can't really tell the full story, and she's kind of dealing with her own kind of personal issue, like because she's a journalist, she wants to tell the truth, but here she can't, and she's put into a sticky situation. And the people of Smallville are very confused of what happened with Morgan Age, and they blame the Cushings, which is Lana Cushing, her husband, because they were big fans of Morgan Age and wanted him in the town. And he turned bad and was trying to, ruin Smallville. So people are kind of pushing them out of Smallville and won't talk to them and stuff like that. So this episode was small enough, but I really like the kind of discussion of, do we need these weapons that can kill Superman around? Do we need them? Because Superman thinks we do, and General Lane thinks we don't. But Superman convinces them to keep it because if he does go bad, they're screwed. But then if Lex Luthor or somebody bad does get them, Superman's screwed. So nobody really wins,
Right.
you know. So we've seen it before. Like we've seen evil Superman so many times in the last few years. It seems like it's becoming a regular thing. But I don't think we have seen the discussion where Superman actually thinks he could turn bad because it happened so easily with Morgan Edge. Morgan Edge was able to corrupt him. He was able to manipulate him to turn evil, nearly turn evil. And then, we have John Henry Irons as well from his Earth. On his Earth, Superman went evil. He turned bad, and they had no way of defeating him. They didn't have those weapons on that Earth. And on this Earth, they do. So I think Superman was very, he was very brave to say, let's keep this stuff around in case I do turn bad.
Awesome. And who is this person? Is that Morganage that's inside that cell?
Yeah, so so he was captured last week, but it looks like he wanted to be captured. So there was this kind of Kryptonian weapon. I don't know the name of it right now, but it was kind of this device that was able to put Kryptonian consciousness into the people of Smallville. So, General Zod made a return in last week's episode. His consciousness made a return, and there's a few other Kryptonians like that. And this device was able to do this to people of Smallville, like put their consciousness into a regular person, and they'd have Kryptonian powers and they'd remember their past on Krypton. So, but at the end of last week's episode, Superman and Steel, John Henry Irons, were chasing Morgan Edge, trying to capture him. he goes into space and he absorbs this device or he destroys it, and it looks like he gets this new power from it. Now, it hasn't been revealed yet, so I'm thinking that maybe he has got maybe all of the consciousness from the Kryptonians. So he's more educated or he's more powerful. I'm not exactly sure, but he is stronger because in this episode he kind of has this blue glow in his eyes or this light blue in his eyes, and never seen this before I haven't, so I don't know exactly what it is. But Morgan Edge wanted to be captured, and I'm interested to see where it goes. But I think he wants to convert Superman because we get to see flashbacks in this episode of him as like a teenager. And you know where like we have Kal-El and we have Jor-El, and Jor-El is kind of his teacher and stuff like that. Morgan Edge had the exact same thing. Only his father was he was mean and he treated him bad. And Morgan Edge wanted to convince his father that he could turn Superman, like he could turn Clark Kent. You know, He's his brother. He's his blood brother. So he thought that the two of us could work together and rebuild Krypton in a good way, not an evil way on Earth. But in this episode, Morgan Edge realizes that Superman's too far gone. He can't really convert him. He can't change his mind. And I think that Morgan Edge realizes that, yeah, I'm going to have to do this on my own. And he has this new power as well. At the end of the episode, he escapes pretty easily. So it looks like that he could have escaped anytime he wanted, but he wanted to try and change Superman's mind, which he can't.
Nice. Joss L. Edits says, that's what I like about this version. It's not the repetitiveness of the Bat Soup's trope, but how he reacts.
Yeah. So yeah, because more last week we had a pretty good battle between Superman and John Henry Irons, which was cool. And John Henry Irons thought the only way to stop Superman was to kill him because on his Earth he wasn't able to. Superman was just pure evil. But Lois Lane thought that Superman can be converted. He can be good. He can come back from this kind of thing that Morgan Edge was doing to make him evil. And John Henry Irons didn't believe it, but then he trusted Lois Lane, and he was able to save Superman because Superman was fighting back against this Kryptonian consciousness as well. This Kryptonian device. He was fighting against it because he's good. He wants to be good. So yeah, I do like that as well. And it seems it's a big part of this season about him turning evil, and Morgan Edge even says to him, "I know you can feel it. You can feel that urge, that anger inside of you, Superman. I know you can feel it." And Superman doesn't disagree with him. Superman, without saying it, he actually agrees with him, and that's why Superman in this episode wants those weapons kept around by the government in case he does turn bad, because Superman doesn't trust himself, which is, and the most powerful man in the existence of the universe doesn't trust himself. That's pretty scary, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joss L. says again, that Soups versus Steel fight is top three CW's Arrowverse fights for me so far.
It was pretty cool. I would have liked to see it go on for longer, but of course we didn't have the budget for it and stuff like that. But it was cool, the two of them go up against each other because, like, John Henry Irons, I really like the actor that plays him. I think he's doing an amazing job. He just has this screen presence about him. In the comic books, like Steel is like basically a Superman made of metal. But in this series, he's a man and he puts on the metal suit. The metal suit's pretty cool as well. And the two of them fight against each other last week, and it was awesome. And in this week's episode, they have to chase down Leslie Lar, which was Morgan Edge's assistant. She had Kryptonian powers as well, and she's the only one left of the Morgan Edge experiment. And they actually work together in the opening sequence of this episode, and they take her down pretty easily. But it was cool how the two of them work together, and then they give each other a fist bump. So Superman and John Henry Irons are working together, and then John Henry Irons, of course, on his Earth, he lost his wife, which was Lois Lane, killed by Superman. He lost his daughter, but they never showed her dying, so she might come back at some stage. But he doesn't. He's kind of lost in the world because his main mission was to kill Superman. But now this Superman on this Earth is different, kind of. But now he's working with him, so it'll be interesting to see how we go. I think there's only 3 or 4 episodes left, but there's another 3 week break, which I'm disappointed about because I'm really enjoying this season. Yeah, these breaks are pretty annoying, but yeah, the fight between Soups and Steel was pretty good, and I'm expecting a big showdown for this series, the season finale. I want to see a big showdown between Morgan Edge, Tal-Rho, which is his Kryptonian name, and Superman, and he's more powerful. He's way more powerful, and Steel. John Henry Irons seems to be upgrading his suit episode by episode. So I want to see the final look. I don't think we've seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the final Steel look is. Maybe it'll be a little bit more comic accurate, and he'll have the hammer a little bit more as well.
Cool. So, guys, let us know in the comments below who are not seeing live, and all of you guys who are seeing it live. Let us know what's your take on this episode and what do you think of it. Whether you have any new theories or you have some complaints, whatever it is, you can definitely mention in the comments below. And we are
Did
definitely open to all opinions, so you can fire away.
did you, did you see John Campia's tweet about or the previous episode?
I didn't see the
No.
tweet, but I've heard, some people say that he thinks that the show is now shit after episode 11.
Yeah. So look. John Diggle showed up, which was a CW character from Arrow, and I think maybe his last appearance in the CW shows was maybe with the Green Lantern Reign or something like that, but they never fulfilled that
Yeah,
storyline. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he showed up in this episode, and John Caffey was like, "Oh, Superman Lois was good for the first 11 episodes. Now it's shit." I'm like, this character just showed up, and he had a very small role, and he was pretty cool. But I can understand his frustration because I was a little bit frustrated. Not frustrated, but just a little bit worried myself that, oh, are they bringing in more CW elements into this? Is it the CW really canon? But if the quality stays up, then I don't really mind. But I don't want the Flash showing up. I don't want the Legends of Tomorrow gang showing up and stuff
you
like that. I
know
just
that
really
will
like that this is
happen.
a. I don't really mind if he goes over there, to be honest. But then just keep them separate universes. Just like that's the CW world. This is Superman's world right now, and just reference stuff if you want. Like Supergirl, reference her if you want. It's just not to show up. John Diggle was okay because he's a human character, but keep the other metahumans out of it.
Hmm. Yeah, that probably will definitely happen because I think that once you start, exploring the story even more, then there probably is nowhere left to go anymore. So that's when they'll start bringing in these things to, generate more excitement for the series. And, CW
Well,
has its fans as well. So a lot of people still watch that shit. So, it could be good for them, or it could not. Only time will tell.
well, he's the like Superman is he's the top dog of the CW right now
Hmm.
because I think Superman and Lois show was probably one of the best reviews in years, one of the best views in terms of viewership. The CW app as well. The online engagement seems to be pretty positive for the most part for Superman and Lois. So yeah, Tyler Hoechlin Superman seems to be the has replaced Stephen Amell as maybe the figure for CW. So I could see if they were worried about other shows. Oh, this week guest appearance Tyler Hoechlin Superman is showing up in the Flash. And it brings viewers into the Flash show. Like that's something that they could probably do. I don't think you need to bring those other characters over into Superman and Lois, but I could see them definitely doing something like the big star is in this show now, so everyone go watch it. I hope they don't, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And so, yeah, with that out of the way, we can move on to the next topic, which is Batgirl. So we have well, we finally have the casting for the Batgirl movie that is actually a DCEU, um, supposedly, but I don't know because the previous article that was speculating about the Batgirl plot and all that stuff was suggesting that the Jim Gordon will be a different one, not, a pre-existing actor. So, based on that, I don't know if it's DCEU or if they're just recasting, or is this just a separate universe altogether since, they are going into the multiverse now. So, I don't know, but apparently it is going to be Barbara Gordon, so that's confirmed. At least there's no plot details, but Leslie Grace is now cast. Uh, which was which was my least favorite choice amongst the others. I thought that the other three probably would have been a better choice. But I see that a lot of people are excited for this casting because of her performance in the movie In the Heights, which I haven't seen, so I don't know exactly what her acting credentials are. So, have you had the chance to see the movie In the Heights?
Uh, okay, so I like musicals. I like musicals. I like Greatest Showman and stuff like that. And I was the trailers for In the Heights didn't wow me, but I wanted to watch it because it was a musical. I thought it'd be fun, some good music in it, stuff like that. And you know, I watched it and I wasn't really interested in it because like the cast wasn't really amazing in terms of the A-list actors. You know, the Greatest Showman, you have Hugh Jackman, you have Zendaya, you have Zac Efron. I already had interest, you know, with those actors. For this one, I didn't really know many of them, and I think I got distracted. I never finished the movie, so I watched about half. Um, so it shows what I thought of that movie. But she was good in it, yeah, of course. But she didn't have anything that overly amazing to do. She was singing, and she was dancing, and she was acting, but she didn't. Was no like mad range I could see. But I haven't seen other projects of hers, so I can't really judge her acting.
I
And
think
my pick
it's
was
that
the.
was her debut.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't really have much to go on, but I pick was the Transformers actress from The Last Night. Even though The Last Night's not a great movie, I liked her in it, and I was looking forward maybe to seeing her in more bigger projects in the future. And she hasn't really got that yet, so I would have liked to see her become Batgirl. But look, I don't mind. I'm more interested in seeing who's directing this movie. It's the two guys that did Bad Boys for Life. It was
Yeah.
Bad Boys 3 that came out in January 2020. I think it was the highest grossing film of that year, or was it Sonic? Um, Forget. But it was one of the successful movies that year, and I think they did a pretty good job. It was actually a very emotional film. It had stuff with Martin Lawrence and with Smith's character, the dynamic between those two. Yeah, I thought that was actually really well done, and they brought something refreshing to the franchise. So I was excited to hear they're on board for the Batgirl. It's a movie for HBO Max exclusively, and I'm interested to see what world is it in? What Batman exists in this world? Is it Robin Pattinson? Is it Michael Keaton? Is it Ben Affleck? Is it a
No
new
idea.
Batman? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a new Batman. Maybe the Batman is like in the CW. He's gone off. He's not here right now. Like in Batwoman, you know, the Bruce Wayne was left. He left Gotham City or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know, Casey. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited. Is Christina Hodson writing the screenplay for this?
Yes, she wrote the screenplay for Birds of Prey, and then she was hired on to do The Flash, which is interesting because that's a pretty big movie to tackle. And then she also got hired to do the Batgirl movie. So they must have been pretty impressed by what stories she's telling and her screenplay, talents. So that at least gives me some hope. And maybe it is in capable hands because of that. But also the directors, I don't know about them, but it's a Bad Girl project that's going on HBO Max. And there's really nothing wrong that can go with it unless the writing is terrible. But we have Christina Hodson,
Yeah.
so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but there's less risk with this project. You know, when you put a comic book movie out
Yes.
there, there's always the risk of it not
And
doing so well.
there's no
You know,
really template to go off of. Like there's no
yeah,
previous Batgirl that you can say, oh, she's not like that person or this person, right?
yeah. Like we've had Alicia Silverstone back in the Batman Robin days,
Yes.
so nobody's going to be referencing that one. And then we have the Birds of Prey TV series in the early 2000s. Nobody's talking about that. That was cancelled after one season. So yeah, the character has yet to get a really, really good interpretation. So this would probably be the best because there is no bar. The bar
Yeah.
doesn't exist. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, there's less risk because it can't be a box office flop. It can get poor reviews, but it can be the most watched movie on
Yeah.
streaming. That's the thing. I'm sure it's going to be a fine movie, but I would have liked to see this in hit theaters. You know, why not? Like you attach it's Batgirl. It's in the Batman world. Commissioner Gordon's in it. I think that could do well at the box office. I think maybe put this on in theaters. Why not? But they obviously have a plan for it to be on HBO Max for some reason, and I hope the budget's good budget. I hope the team behind it gets control, and let's see.
Yeah, and also the previous Batgirl announcement also had a casting thing about the villain being basically in their 50s or something, or was that Gordon? And then the villain was around that age. Um, and they had a previous job in the fire. They were some, it was related to something to the fire thing, and then obviously the speculation is obviously the he might be Firefly, right? So that was the speculation part, but the casting did say that they are looking for an older villain or antagonist role. So that could be the rumored villain right now, Firefly, for this project, which is interesting because um, I know that the BVS BVS prequel comic is not technically canon to the movie as much, but that comic had Firefly, and it's interesting that Batgirl is having Firefly as well, potentially.
Yeah, I think I like that it's not Two Face or Penguin or Joker. I like it's a new
Mhm.
villain, you know, because we've seen those villains before. We're going to see them again in the Batman. We're going to see them in maybe in the Flash movie in appearances or something like that. Maybe in future like Keaton movies or whatever appearances he makes in the future. But yeah, Firefly is a new character. I'm looking forward to seeing and being educated on the character. But we need to get more casting news for this. If they can surround a good cast around Leslie Grace, then I think that's good. But this is, again, it doesn't have to worry about box office, so they can put unknowns into this movie and see how it goes. Maybe experiment a little bit. But I think if it was in the box office, I think it would need a bigger name attached to this film to get people interested. That's something that maybe Birds of Prey didn't have. Harley Quinn's a big enough character, but I don't think that big yet. And Ewan McGregor was never really a box office star with his movies. So I think that maybe that's where it lacked a little bit. He didn't have that A-list audience actor. But this movie doesn't have to worry about that because it's streaming. It just has to. Like, they can lie to us probably about the streaming numbers anyway. So
That's true.
what's the risk?
But what I think would instantly give the project a massive boost is getting J.K. Simmons, Jim Gordon back, and setting this project inside the DCU somehow, because they are going to have Supergirl solo project, and they are going to have her in the DCEU in the future. So maybe they also would, make a team up movie or something like that in the future. So setting this Batgirl project in the DCEU makes sense to me. And if you're doing that, I would probably go for J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon again. And he really didn't have much to prove, much time to prove himself in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but he was still great in that with the limited time he had. So I would like to see more of that. And if we get him in this, I would instantly be way more excited for this project.
Yeah, it seems that we're going to have these smaller scale movies that are spin-offs of what's happening on the big screen. I know that the Gotham City Police show will be a spin-off of the Batman. Static Shock will be a spin-off from the DCEU in a way. So maybe the Batgirl we'll see some signs of her in the Flash movie or something like that. Maybe she could then team up with Michael Keaton in a future movie, or I don't know. But I'm sure we'll find out more information. Seems like the DCU isn't worried about intertwining storylines as much as maybe it used to be. Just interested in telling stories, and then if they want to connect it, they can. But I think if they concentrate on making a good story first, then who's going to care if it's connected that much, really? But the thing is, I think if it's a streaming movie, you don't really care about that as much. But if it's box office, I think fans do because the MCU has done it for so long, and people think everything should be connected. And when it's not, then do they really care? Shazam, Birds of Prey, stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. That would definitely make it more. I don't know if I want to say it like that, but it would kind of make it more interesting than it is right now if it were connected to the DCEU, because a lot of people do like the DCEU where it's headed. So that interconnectivity with that project would obviously make them more excited for this.
Yeah, like I know that he's probably not going to come back anymore, but like if it's in the Michael Keaton Ben Affleck world, then like, that's pretty cool. You could put that into the marketing in a way. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if they'd show up in a HBO Max movie like this, but I think it just adds more excitement if you say, "Oh, yeah, this Batgirl exists in the Ben Affleck world." That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And
instead of instead of saying, "Oh, this character exists in a world where there's no Batman or Batman's dead or something like that."
That's true. And also, Ascended makes a good point. He says, I'd rather they make this into another universe, plus, it's likely this will be an expansion of the Batman. That's a good point. It could also be a spin off of the Batman project, but if that were the case, they would have started with that, announcing it, because, that brings up more hype. That Matt Reeves is a big name, Robert Pattinson is a big name. There's a big cast in that movie. So that is already going to be a trilogy potentially, right? So if they were to make a if this Batgirl, that spin off of that universe, they would have started with that, and just like they did with Gotham City PD, whatever the name of that is. Um, I don't think they'll just secretly make this project and then have it linked to that. So I think that's less likely as of right now, but we'll have to wait for more information for that because they haven't revealed anything apart from that casting thing, and also that it's going to be debuting on HBO Max directly.
Yeah, might get a theatrical limited release, but
Yeah,
I doubt it. I think they're just going to drive subscribers. But let's see.
yeah. Well, let us know what you think of this casting. Did you like it? Did you have another favorite? My favorite was actually Zoe Deutsch. Um, I wish that she got it, but well, I'll have to wait and see what she does, Leslie, because I haven't seen her before in any movie, so I'll have to wait and see what she does with the role. Anyway, moving on to the next topic here, which is fairly, fairly new topic. It's the Michael B. Jordan Superman project that's going to be on HBO Max. So, just I don't know where to start with
Is,
this.
is my did my camera freeze?
Yes, your camera froze, but I can hear you.
Damn. Yeah, it should be okay now.
Nope. Yes, it's fine now.
Okay.
Well, so the project is Michael B. Jordan's Superman project, which is going to be different from the one previously announced, which was a race bending Clark Kent character that they were exploring for the theatrical, side of things. Uh, Michael B. Jordan was asked about that, but he said he wasn't involved in that before, right? And just yesterday, this news came out that he's now working on a Valzod Superman project for. It's actually a series for HBO Max. So this is very interesting to me because, firstly, I think that Michael B. Jordan Superman has been rumored since a very, very long time, and it's an interesting choice, and I like the casting. But I always was kind of bugged about them doing this Clark Kent version of that Superman, especially because they already have a DCU Superman that they're not using, and well, at least as of right now, they're not using. Who knows if he has cameos in the future movies, but that was always weird to me, and I didn't fully get on board with that idea, although I wouldn't be opposed to it. But given the fact that I love Henry Cavill's Superman and he still had a lot to do in the DCEU, I was not as glad about that. So with this coming out on HBO Max as a series, and he may or may not play Superman, this makes me more interested in this because it's not Clark Kent, it's Val Zod, so there's not the same basic origin story. It will be different from that, and we have a big budget Superman series, which is very different from every other iteration that we have gotten so far. Plus, we have Michael B. Jordan in it. So this project is very interesting to me, and I would definitely be watching this. As for the quality of the show, I think it will be DCEU level, if anything. So I'll have to see a trailer first, but right now I definitely am intrigued and interested in this project. What about you?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan has done. He has distanced himself from the J.J. Abrams one every single time it's
Yes.
mentioned. And even in this article, when it comes out from Collider, it talks about the race bending of Clark Kent. He doesn't want that. He wants a brand new Superman character, which is Val Zod or Calvin Ellis. It's going to be Val Zod. And that's like, what's the point of J.J. Abrams doing a black Clark Kent? It makes no sense when you have two other comic book characters who are black, who have played Superman with different names. I think it makes no sense whatsoever. When you have Henry Cavill, or if you really don't want Henry Cavill, you have Brandon Routh, or you can go and cast some other guy to be Clark Kent for your Superman movie, or you can have Calvin Ellis be the Black Superman. I don't understand it. I really, really don't. So I think Michael B. Jordan is doing the right thing by introducing a comic book character who has played the character of Superman who was black, and that is Val Zod. And this is probably going to be 5 to 8 episodes for HBO Max. It's going to be a huge budget. His production company is involved big time with it. There's a writer attached. But, like, this is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to this big time.
Yeah, and it's also one of my things with this is also that I usually don't like the race bending thing unless, well, firstly, if the race is critical to the character, for example, Black Panther, then I definitely am against race bending that character. So that doesn't make sense to me at all, and I am definitely opposed to that. But characters like Superman, where you don't have to be a white character or a specific type of character, I think it's fine. But even in that, I don't think that you need to change. I don't like the idea of, for the representation's sake, I don't like the idea of having a black version of a white character. That doesn't that's I think that undermines the importance of the black characters. They should instead have the black characters be more prominent. They should make movies about them. They should make shows about them, so that we know the history about that, and we also uplift more characters that are not white characters, right? So that I think is a good way to go, and I'm really glad for that reason also that this is happening. And obviously this probably wouldn't be DCEU, which is also good. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in this, and I'll be watching this.
It proves, like, the rumors have been around for 2 years about Michael B. Jordan as Superman, and the rumors about J.J. Abrams Superman has been around for 2 years as well. Now, maybe the Michael B. Jordan was attached to J.J. Abrams, or they were in talks. But this kind of proves he didn't like what J.J. Abrams was trying to do, or he just didn't want the Clark Kent Black Superman aspect. So he decided, okay, I'm going to go do my own thing over here. I don't want anything to do with that. Because if there was a really good idea from J.J. Abrams and Tanashi Coates, Michael B. Jordan would be playing the theatrical Superman, but he didn't want that. He wanted to do his own thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And he doesn't do those kind of cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Creed. He's directing the third one of that. That Amazon movie, Amazon Prime movie. Getting out of it, but that wasn't
Without
funny or
remorse.
light. Yeah. So this is going to be dark enough as well, I'd say.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
yeah, I'm interested. He's a fantastic talent, and he probably had a great idea to bring it to screen, and that's the reason he's now involved in a series rather than just a one-off movie.
and he's a Warner Brothers guy now.
Yep.
I think Space Jam 2 proved that. If you've seen Space Jam 2 was Warner Brothers showing off all of their greatest IPs, and Michael B. Jordan showed up as himself in a scene. So I think that was their way of saying he's our guy, and
Yeah.
he is, because he's going to be doing the Static Shock, producing that for Warner Brothers. And down to this Superman, so he's going to be around for a long time with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I see a great career ahead for this man. There's also rumors that he might reprise his role as Killmonger in Black Panther 2, based on a method of resurrection or some kind. So we'll have to see how that goes. If he gets back to that role, then he will be playing a DC and a Marvel character simultaneously.
He's too good of a talent to let go. I think maybe they regret killing him off in the first one.
Yep,
You know,
definitely.
he, he's getting bigger and bigger, and his producing credits are unbelievable as well. And he's directing Creed 3, so this guy can do it all. Well, hopefully, we'll have to see how the Creed 3 is.
Yeah. So let us know what you think of this, guys. And do you think this is a good idea? Do you think they should have done this in the theaters and replaced that other movie that nobody wants? Well, I guess somebody wants it, but yeah,
Well, I'm I'm interested, but I'm not excited for it because
yeah,
it might never happen
that's
because
true.
it's Warner.
Yes, that's true. All right, so moving on to another movie that is a Warner Brothers movie, which I am very, very excited for, and it's called Dune. Dude, this trailer was so amazing. I cannot emphasize how amazing this trailer was. I think this is one of the best trailers of this year. It was definitely made for like, mass appeal, and it had some humor, it had epic shots, it looked brilliant. It just had that epic feel to this, and I just loved it. I was already excited for this movie, but this trailer just got me hyped a lot. And I'm just loving the music. The preview from Hans Zimmer that was released, called Paul's Dream, I think. That was amazing. And the cast looks incredible, and even the cinematography looks epic. So I just I don't know if I want to watch more trailers now, because I think this was the definitive trailer that they should have released in the first place. But I can see why, that was kind of a teaser, I think, and this is the official trailer. So I can see why. And a lot of shots in this looks like Star Wars to me. Like they are characters that would probably go on for a decade or 2 decades, and it's just getting started. So I hope this movie succeeds, and I hope people like it, and we build a franchise from this movie, because usually you know Denis movies don't do well at the box office for some reason, but I just hope that
Yeah.
this is a success, and I hope that he finally gets his deserved franchise and love from everyone. Apart from that, there's also Rebel Moon coming up from Zack Snyder. So I'm glad this is coming before that, so that they can kind of look at this and make something even better. Which I'm sure that Zack would have done anyway. But there's still, it's always better to go second and have the reference before that, so that you can make something even better and learn a bit or two from this. So I can see down the line this Dune and Rebel Moon being the two franchises that would that people would love, like Star Wars and Star Trek. You know, but I'm
Yeah,
probably getting way too ahead of myself. It's just the first trailer, and I'm just excited to see the movie, man.
well, I was thinking about it earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, but it might not be perceived too well. This could be our generation's Star Wars.
Yes.
But then I thought to myself that Star Wars came out in a very unique time.
Yeah.
Nothing ever like it. It wasn't as many of those type of movies made, so maybe it wouldn't like be that in today's world. Star Wars if it came out, but Dune as well. I think it's a shame that there's COVID and the box office is altered, because I think this would have been Denis Villeneuve's biggest hit at the box office because of the cast. The cast of Jason Momoa or Timothy Chalamet or Zendaya. It's a very young cast, and they're up and coming. In his previous movies, he didn't really have huge box office stars attached to. Like his highest grossing movie was Blade Runner 2049, and that was one of the biggest flops of all time. In terms of the budget for that movie, but I think the
Yeah.
marketing let down that film big time. But it still grossed 260 million worldwide. So we'll have to see how this goes. Like I think Dune is fast. Like it's just very. I just hope this movie doesn't do bad at the box office because I want to see him have a win, but I also want to see a part two to this because it looks brilliant. It looks visually stunning, and I think if somebody maybe like a Christopher Nolan was attached to this, or let's say James Cameron, I think they would have shot number two back to back because the box office is maybe a little bit more guaranteed with those guys. With Denis Villeneuve, it's not.
Yeah.
And he needs to start getting some box office wins, or I think the IPs that he's given will decrease and decrease, and the budget he gets will decrease and decrease because you can't really gamble on that too many times. Zack Snyder's a very diverse director, they say, but look at his box office record; it's amazing. It really is. And
Yeah.
even Army of the Dead did really well at the box office, and it's not a box office movie; it's a streaming movie. So like Denis Villeneuve needs to break through that barrier, and I think the likes of this cast with Jason Momoa, who I mentioned, could be the help that he needs. No disrespect to the older actors, but I just think his style is very unique, and it's kind of like a stigma to audiences. They might not all like it, so but to introduce younger generation of actors into it, it might help them. So yeah, I think the trailer looked absolutely fantastic. I wasn't expecting to see 4 minutes of it, but yeah, it just looks amazing, man. I don't even. There's some movies I look at and I'm like, where do you start when you're trying to shoot this? Because the visual effects and the CGI, everything. Like, how did he actually plan all this out? It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this could be on the scale of a Star Wars in terms of what it does in today's world, what Star Wars did back in 1977. So yeah, let's go. I don't even know what the story is. I don't care. It just looks brilliant.
Yeah,
You
absolutely,
know.
man. And also, some people have seen the first 10 minutes of this movie already in IMAX. And they said things along the lines of, it's the best thing they've seen since Star Wars and Blade Runner and, stuff like that. So I think that when the movie gets closer, I think the marketing will go even more bonkers, because it is also a streaming movie as well as a theatrical movie, right? So they'll have to do that. And just in the beginning of the marketing, I'm getting excited for this, so I can see I can only imagine what the level of hype will be, closer to release. And I just hope that by that time, theaters are open here so I can watch it in IMAX, because this looks like a movie that the last time I think I got that feeling before Justice League was Interstellar, I think, that I needed to watch in theaters in IMAX. And this is the movie that I get that feeling again.
Yeah, I just hope the pandemic, because this is coming out in the winter time and flu season. I just hope that doesn't alter the box office and stuff like this, because the date is set for this movie. It's not going to get moved
Yeah.
anymore, and it's on streaming as well, which we know that Denis Villeneuve was not happy with whatsoever. But yeah, I just hope the world's in a good enough place, or similar to how it is right now, at least, for it to do well at the box office. So yeah, and Denis Villeneuve is probably in the top 10 working directors in the world right now. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite directors after Zack Snyder, Quentin Tarantino, Nolan.
His consistency
It's
record
just brilliant.
is very
Oh
similar to Nolan.
yeah, it's,
All his movies are good.
it's fantastic. Oh, like when he's one of the directors, when he makes a movie, you know it's going to be
Yes.
good. If not great. Look at his, go watch all of his movies. They're just fantastic to watch. And I think when I first kind of noticed him was, I went to go see Blade Runner 2049 in theaters. Told the story before. I was alone, hence the poor box office
Me
performance.
too.
But it was just me. Yeah, it was just me, this big massive screen on my own in a
Me
theater,
too.
and you could hear a pin drop at times, especially when Ryan Gosling's character is just
Yeah.
walking through the dust desert scene. Like, it's just fantastic, and I was really into that film, and I enjoyed it. This looks very similar to it. I want to go see this on my own in the
Yeah.
theaters. I don't want anybody annoying me. I want to be just in this world.
Yes. And Arrival is another movie that I think was just amazing. And Blade Runner 2049
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Arrival both are my favorites from Denis. But this also
yeah.
looks like it could be better than both of them because it took a lot of time to make this movie, and seems like he has built a really big world here, and might have set up a lot of things to go have sequels and stuff, because this is not the whole book. This is just part one of the book. So there's still more story to be told after this movie. And
I think there's
yeah,
a.
there's also a series.
Oh, you want to say?
There's also a series that's kind of a prequel, I think, that is directly tied. That is a spin-off to this movie, so that's also coming out. And yeah, if people like this, they will definitely check out this prequel series, and the series can do a much better job at expanding the lore of this movie, which you cannot do as much in a 3 hour movie, right? So the series will do a much better job at that. So with that context, people will be more into the movie and this universe going forward. So that's a pretty smart move, I think.
You know what I'm worried about?
What?
Seems to be all these HBO Max theatrical releases have all been under 2 hours.
Yes. But I think he
And
already
I'm like,
said the runtime was 3 hours or something.
will they allow that? Oh, I'd be surprised. I hope it is.
Oh, for Dune they'll have to. This is their blockbuster. If they Well, so was GVK, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so it's supposed to be Justice League.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. I just hope they can't fuck him around anymore because the article he wrote back in January about them doing the HBO Max releases, he was so pissed off. And
Hmm.
I think I don't would like he's a such an artsy direct. Like, would they tell him to cut 30 minutes out? I
No,
don't think he'd back down.
I don't think so. Yeah, and also one more thing which I think is a positive is that right now they have confirmed finally that it will still have day and date, right? So the issue with day and date that filmmakers were having wasn't that they cared where we watched their movies. They were just saying that this needs to be experienced on a theater, on a big screen, blah blah blah. But that's not the reason why they wanted that. They're just pissed because they had look. The filmmakers have contracts, and the contracts have clauses that is very dependent on the box office. So if a movie goes straight to streaming on the first day, that gets heavily impacted, and you have like a big percentage of the box office money coming to you, and now you're just watching the movie on streaming. They won't get that, so they signed up for something more than they're getting. So that's the reason why they were pissed.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they were pissed. They don't care about it, where you watch their movies. If you watch it on your phone or your TV or a big screen, it doesn't matter to them. So that was the main reason why they were being so pissed about it. And even Denis, so right now it's confirmed that it's going to be day and date. So I think they already made a deal, just like Wonder Woman 84. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot were saying they were unhappy. James Gunn was unhappy. I think they just went out and made deals for these people, and we know that the deal was made, and Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot was compensated for this thing, day and date thing. So I think the similar deal was made with James Gunn and Denis Villeneuve. So that's why they're shut now. They're still carrying on with the day and date thing. So it's just simple, business. You can't say that they were wrong or right. It's business to them, and I can understand why they did that. It was in the contract, and they were not following, and they were getting affected negatively. So I understand why that was happening. But yeah, don't mistake them for don't think that they care about where you watch the movie. They don't.
All about money,
Yep.
man.
Yeah. Um, Finn Dehan, welcome to the chat. He says, or she says, I'm a sad boy. So he. I'm European, me no HBO. Yeah, that's another problem. That's the reason why I also like that it's coming out in theaters, and I hope that by that time the theaters are open because I also want to see it in theaters since we don't have HBO Max here. And I'm assuming that's the case for you as well.
There's so much piracy going on as
Mm-hmm.
well because a HD copy is coming out the day it releases,
Yep, exactly.
and if you same with Disney Plus, Black Widow. You don't have to go to theaters. You don't even have to have a Disney Plus subscription. Just find a good website and you get to watch it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So yeah, I'm pretty much very excited for this movie and the series and this entire franchise. I just hope that they are successful and good and people love it so that they can keep making this movie this world in the future as well. Let us know what you think, and have you read the books? Do you know some things that are shown in the trailers? Because I have never read them or heard of them or know the story, so all I can see is the trailer, and it looks really good to me. And I want to go in fresh, so that's my way of enjoying this movie. So let me know if you like the things that are shown in the trailer. Are there some different things? Are there some things you don't like? Are they being faithful to the book and you love this? I know Scott McClellan, of DC Film Scottcast, you know, they really love this and they are excited for this because he read the book and he is a big fan of it, and seeing that another fan of the book is loving the trailers and the marketing so far makes me more excited because I think that shows that Denis and the crew knows what to make this movie into. So yeah.
I I definitely I won't read the books because I don't want to spoil it for
Yeah.
myself. But I, I want to watch the David Lynch Leach. I just said Lynch. His Dune movie. I heard it's bad. It's not great. I want to watch his that came out years ago before I watch this one just to see what like.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think there was there two movies or did they do a TV show as well after that? I think they had a few attempts at Doom, but they messed it up every time.
Well, we'll have to. I'm not gonna check that out as well. Maybe I'll check it out after watching this movie. But my first experience, I want to be his movie because I know that it will be great. Even if it doesn't perform well, I know that I will like it. So yeah.
Yeah,
All right, then let us know what you guys think, and we'll move on to the next topic here, which is Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder's Stone Quarry Productions has signed a first look deal with Netflix. And this is something we brought up a while ago, a few months ago, actually, maybe in February, when it was announced that Ryan Coogler was signed up for a 5-year deal with Netflix. And I put up a poll on the Twitter account asking that a lot of people are signing, a lot of these streaming services are signing projects with directors and then signing directors directly to make projects for them. So we asked if a similar deal will be signed with Zack Snyder, you know, and the options we gave were HBO Max, Netflix, Apple TV Plus, and other or something like that. And then obviously at that time HBO Max won because it was pre Zack Snyder's Justice League. No one read the Hans Sarnoff article. Everyone was in bliss. So everyone chose HBO Max. The second thing that won was Netflix. And now we get the news that Netflix actually signed a deal with Zack Snyder's Stone Quarry Productions, which, firstly, I think the best thing about this is it's a first look deal. So for people who don't know about the first look deal, it's basically a deal in which the company, in this case Netflix, has the right to have a first look at any Zack Snyder project, right? So suppose Zack Snyder came out with a new idea of a project. Let's forget Rebel Moon for a second. Imagine Zack Snyder right now has a new idea for a movie about a cat or something, right? So that project cannot go to anyone else except Netflix uh, before going to anyone else, right? So first, Zack Snyder comes up with the project idea about a cat movie or something. He has to go to Netflix, and Netflix has the right to see that script or idea or pitch, whatever, and then they have the right to either accept it or decline it. And if they decline it, then Zack Snyder can go to any other studio and then shop it around. So that's what a first look deal means. So I love this because Zack Snyder comes up with an idea about a cat movie. He goes to Netflix. Netflix is signing that up, right? He's not going to say no
Yeah,
to Zack Snyder. So that's obviously a big advantage for Netflix. Also, you might be thinking, what's in it for Zach? Well, first look deals are great for directors and creators because they get a lot of money for that and a lot of resources, and doing scouting locations, and prepping for the movies and stuff. Netflix will directly pay for it in advance, and he gets more money upfront for this deal. So that's also great. So yeah, it's a deal that benefits both. And Sean, can you open the article and read the quote from Deborah about Warner Brothers? Because I think that quote from Deborah was amazing, as that was basically kind of a hit at Warner Brothers, and in favor of Netflix. She didn't have to say it, but it felt like she was saying it as a dig to Warner Brothers. There's in that article. There's also a Damon Caro project that he's going to be directing. For those of you who don't know, Damon Caro is the stunt coordinator of Zack Snyder movies. He basically coordinated the whole warehouse fight scene for Batman in BVS. So just imagine what his original project would be like. So the one good thing is also that it's not just Zack Snyder that they signed on Netflix. They actually signed on Stone Quarry Productions, because Zack Snyder is not going to make every single project that's coming out of Stone Quarry. He's also going to hire other people to come and make. It's just a production house, so he's going to hire other people to go
yeah,
make movies for his production house as well. And that production house, any movies made under that, also has a first look deal with Netflix. So Damon Carr's project was mentioned in the article, so that also comes under that. Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon movie also comes under the first look thing. So that's amazing to hear.
yeah. If Shane Hatton had an idea for a film and he wrote it himself, or even a short movie or anything like that, like a not short movie, but like a small indie movie, that would be under Stone Quarry, and Zack Snyder would show Netflix or
Yeah.
whatever. There's so many possibilities. It's not just Zack Snyder. We could get like just for example, like he could hire David Ayer to make a movie for him. Like, that's what the possibilities are. And David Ayer has a good relationship with Netflix as well.
Yep.
So like that Zach could get his crew back together in a way. But yeah, it's awesome. Like it's so cool because you will get the freedom there, and like Netflix aren't going to say no to him. That's the thing. It's not like they're going to say no and then he goes over to Amazon or he goes over to Disney. That's not going to happen. He's a Netflix guy right now. You know, everything that he does will be done through
Mm-hmm.
Netflix for the next. Well, it's a first look deal, so for the rest of his career, nearly.
But I think this was specifically for 2 years, the next 2 years. Um, we'll talk about what the
But
implication for that with the Snyderverse is later on, but this was also
yeah,
specifically for 2 years. And then after that, obviously, they might extend that.
yeah. Well, Adam Sandler when he first signed on, he signed like a six picture deal with Netflix,
Oh,
and then just before the sixth one came, he did that back in 2014, I think. And just as the sixth one was coming out, he signed on for another like eight. You know, so it's like I see the same happening with Zach.
yeah.
You know, when he does the first two, or the sign off for another three. You know, keep signing on for more movies because he's such a talent. You don't want to lose him. I could see him maybe doing a smaller movie and maybe that being an indie movie and go around to the festivals and stuff like that. But I could see it still ending up on Netflix eventually. So
Yeah. So Deborah's quote was interesting. Let me bring that up here on screen.
I have it here too.
Yeah, can you go ahead and read that?
Yes, Deborah Snyder, Zack Snyder's wife and producing partner, says, "For us, it was so important to find a partnership that was based on mutual respect. The creative process works best when everybody trusts each other and you can take chances and be creative. For us, we don't usually play it safe. The content we make is a little bit edgier, and I think it's important to have a good partnership and hear each other. And Netflix has given us a lot of freedom, but they've also embraced the idea of trying new things and not necessarily waiting for a success before moving ahead." She also had this to say: "A consumer isn't going to be waiting 2 years for more, and that is exciting. I give them a lot of credit for developing that partnership and trust."
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you were talking about.
Yes.
There's also another one that's because Zach is really good at world building. We've done that with the comics for so long that to do something original is the ultimate challenge, and we're up for that.
Yeah. So that's very interesting to see, and I just love this, and I'm very happy for Netflix and Zach. One good thing about Netflix is that it's available worldwide, and so it's available to me as well. Unlike some HBO Max or some other platforms, Netflix is available to me, and I can instantly watch anything that drops on it. So can most of the countries. So that's pretty amazing that the biggest streaming service right now and since the past decade or so uh, have signed on with Netflix with Zack Snyder. So that's amazing. And Rebel Moon will be a franchise that he has already planned a couple of movies or spin-offs, I think, maybe. That will also probably be, announced after the first movie comes out. Just like Army of the Dead 2 was also announced in this article. And they have said that with the first movie, they had 75 million views, I think, that was revealed. So that puts Army of the Dead on number one spot, and that also puts it on number 8 or 9 on an all-time Netflix viewing spot. So that's pretty big for a non CBM, non DC or Marvel movie, and an entirely original zombie movie, which kind of alienates a lot of the audience too. So that's pretty interesting that just based on Zack Snyder's name and his hype around Justice League this year, we got this much. So it just shows that this was a pretty
Yeah,
good deal overall, and everyone was happy and trusting of each other, which makes for the best environment for movies, right?
yeah. I think Army as well. You attach Zack Snyder. You also have Dave Bautista, who was a worldwide wrestling star for years. People who used to watch him. Oh, movie with Dave Bautista. Oh, just click it. You watch it because like his streaming movies have been really popular. Like Army of the Dead, top 10 on Netflix. The Spy movie he did for Amazon, that was a huge hit for Amazon as well. And I think they're trying to do a sequel for that. So like Dave Bautista, his streaming movies have done really well. Of course, his box office ones with Guardians of the Galaxy, but and then you have Garrett Dillahunt from Fear the Walking Dead. You have a lot of the Walking Dead fan base watched the zombie movie because they love zombies, obviously. So yeah, I think the film did pretty
Mm-hmm.
well, and there's a spin-off coming later this year, and Harry the Dead too.
Yeah. And I'm excited for the prequel as well, the spin-off movie that Matthias is directing. And Zach showed two new posters. And tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, there's going to be a Comic
Yeah,
Con and there's going to be a Army of Thieves panel with Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, I don't know if Shay Haddon is there, but Matthias will be there as well. So they have a panel tomorrow at Comic Con, and I'm definitely excited to see that. They might have a release date there, or they might show a first look clip, or a trailer, or a teaser, or something. Because we had four first look pictures released a few days ago, that we have on the channel as well. You can go check it out. I think it looked pretty finished. So, they might already have a trailer or a teaser ready to show.
Yeah, and if they do show something worthwhile, I might jump on tomorrow for a stream or just a quick video to talk about it because I think we could get a trailer. And I'm kind of annoyed because you know Comic Con's on this weekend and Walking Dead today was Walking Dead Day, and KC decides to have the stream on when the Walking Dead panels are on. So I'm missing the Walking Dead trailer right now. I can see it's on my timeline. I can't watch it, and I'm pretty disappointed about that right now. And yeah,
Well, we have
everyone's raving
we
about
have to talk with our Real Talk family here first. That comes first, Mar. You should know that.
it. Yeah, I like zombies.
You like zombies over humans?
Yeah,
A hard
oh,
choice.
just yeah, it is hard.
What?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
Yeah. Oh,
Thomas
speaking
Wayne,
of
Thomas
that,
Wayne.
let's get back to that in a bit. But yeah, Naveen says, "What's your most anticipated Zack Snyder film? Rebel Moon, Horse Latitudes, or Army of the Dead 2?" For me, I am intrigued about Army of the Dead 2. But before that, I want to watch Lost Vegas more because of the origins of the, zombie aliens and all that stuff is in that. So I'm more excited for that than Army of the Dead 2. But for me, I would say it's actually amongst that. I would say it's Rebel Moon for sure because that's my dream Zack Snyder project. It's sci-fi space, franchise, and it's directed by Zack Snyder. I could not ask more. That's just my dream Zack Snyder project.
I would go with Rebel Moon as well because I think he'll make a Star Wars movie on steroids that he wants to make.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Army of the Dead, I'm looking forward to the sequel. But if you just said that was the only movie that's coming from this world, then I'd be okay with it because there's so much mystery with it. The ending is an ending where you could continue the story, or you could just say that's the end. I don't know what happens next. So I'm okay with Army of the Dead not getting a sequel. I like to pick one and watch Rebel Moon.
Yeah, me too. Not to say that I'm not interested in Army of the Dead. I'm very interested in that. We talked a bunch of, theories and a lot of them came true and we are definitely excited for that. But as soon as Rebel Moon was announced, that was just like something clicked in my head because I always wanted a Zack Snyder sci-fi space story. And finally I'm getting that. So I'm very excited for that. But a lot of people after this news came out have been disappointed kind of about the Snyderverse not happening. And again, some of them then said that, oh, it's just on hold for like 2 years and after that it can happen. Um, firstly, firstly, I would say that I was always saying that, it's not gonna happen for a while, for at least 5 years. And Maher, you said it could also be 7 years, realistically speaking, even without this deal, because he had a lot of movies already planned and in production and stuff like that. So that aside, another reason was Warner Brothers executives don't want to work with Zack again. That's just a fact. You cannot change someone's mind. Just look, someone in Warner Brothers decided to give up money, to give up making money just to distance themselves from Zack Snyder and not making Justice League 2, 3, whatever. So they're not just gonna change their mind and now greenlight Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 1 year later or 6 months later. That's not how it works, right? So I was very firm in my thought that it was not gonna happen unless they are gone. That's the only way I see it happening. By happening, I mean the conversation even just happening. I think they just moved on from that after March. They are not gonna go back to Zack Snyder or his universe or any of his spin-off movies, whatever he was planning. Um, so to me, that was obvious, and him doing other projects and him moving on to Army of the Dead, Rebel Moon, whatever stuff he was talking about, him not giving a definitive answer for Justice League 2 and all that stuff. It just, it was obvious to me that he was not gonna, they were not gonna work together. Like, the same execs that were toxic to Zack Snyder are still there. It's not gonna be a what do you call it, rainbows and butterflies situation when he just goes back and they can work together. It's not gonna happen, right? As long as they're there, it's not gonna happen. So for me, it was always gonna be 5 years later. Now this announcement came out, people just got disappointed. Maybe they were holding hope for something to happen, but it didn't happen. But now they're saying, oh, it's just for 2 years and then it will happen. No, he has three movies in production that he has to get to first before even talking about another project. And Justice League 2 is a big project, which he cannot do in just 6 months or just 1 year, you know? So he has to complete the three movies first, and that will take at least 2 to 3 years. And then if Warner Brothers management changes, that's a lot of ifs, by the way. If the Warner Brothers management changed after the merger, and they are finally talking to each other, they are good with each other, whatever the situation is 3 years from now. After that, if they discuss Justice League 2, then we have to talk about the actors. And Henry Cavill is getting like 25, 30 movies, you know, greenlit every single month. And who knows what if the actors will be available at that time. So based on all of that, I give it at least 5 to 7 years to even just the conversation to start happening. And that's also based on a lot of ifs. And I would say that if you wanna see, I don't even like to use the term fight for Snyderverse because this is not a fight anymore. It's not something that's already made and you just have to release it. This is something very very much like a new movie to be made, right? You cannot fight for a new movie to be made in any other scenario. So it's the same with this. I don't think you can uh yes, you can keep the conversation alive, you can keep the hype around that alive, and stuff like that, but I don't think you can actually make that much of an impact on the decision making of the executives. So for me, it was always obvious, and a lot of people brought this up and they were sad about it. So I don't know what to say, man. it's it's a sad situation for a lot of people, I know, but to me it was obvious. So I'm I don't know. What do you think of all this, and what did you think before this happened? What do you think now?
I always thought that we would get some sort of expansion of the Snyderverse if it was a Joe Manganiello Deathstroke series, or let's just say, for example, a Jared Leto show or movie or something like that. I thought we would get some sort of expansion if Zach was involved as a director or not. I still think that can happen, and I still think it will happen at some stage. But of course, he's tied up with Netflix, and he's happy at Netflix. And when the crew of toxic suits change at Warner Brothers, I think Zack Snyder will be open to having discussions with them. And then hopefully the new guys that come in can see the fan base that he has, the success at Netflix, the hype that Zack Snyder's Justice League brought, and think maybe we should talk about doing JL2 with this guy. Now, at the moment, the studio heads, if they had to pick between doing Wonder Woman 3 or Justice League 2, they would pick Wonder Woman 3. If they had to pick between Aquaman 3 or Justice League 2, they would pick Aquaman 2 because those are guaranteed money in a way for them, and they were received well critically and stuff like that. That's what they want. They want to please
Sorry
everybody.
to
So
interrupt
that's what they would
again, but
rather do.
on your point on that, there's also one more thing that, if Zach was going back to WB to make Justice League 2, is that he will need creative freedom completely. And Warner Brothers is not going to give that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. If the suits change, if a
Yeah.
new crew comes in and they're open to talking to Zach, and Zach won't go back unless he gets creative freedom. He's going to say, you want me to leave Netflix, and this is how they run operations, you're going to have to give me the same leeway. And that's what's going to happen. Now, I could see in 5 to 7 years then the possibility arising again, because the Rebel Moon has come out, Army of the Dead 2 has come out, a few other movies as well, and maybe Warner Brothers want to talk with him. So I just think it all depends. But I think if he keeps putting out hit after hit on Netflix, they might open conversations again. And Justice League 2 could be a very different film, because who's to say Ben Affleck will be 7 years older, 8 years older, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill. The story might have to change. It might not be as big as it could have been in terms of getting all these actors back. I'm sure with stunt doubles and stuff, maybe you can make it work. But if Flash is successful, there'll obviously be a sequel. There'll be a third movie. Those actors are going to be tied up, so it's going to be very difficult. I think maybe after those movies, those arcs have been completed, then left to be, we're next for these characters. Well, let's do Justice League 2. So I think at some stage it will happen, but not for the next few years. And I'm okay with that, because we've got Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I love those movies. And now we have these original ideas from Zack on Netflix, and I can enjoy the other DCU movies and Marvel movies in the meantime. I'm a patient man, and I wait 3 years for the Snyder Cut. I can wait another 3 or 4 for talks to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to go back there if they're going to be the toxic dickheads that they are, and they have been, and they will do it again. And they even did it this time with the additional photography.
Even for the Snyder Cut, they
marketing.
wanted Snyder to not do Snyder way.
They screwed him over. So yeah, so I don't see the need for it, and I don't think they're going to release the Air Cut anytime soon either, because of it's tied to that. Are they going to put out a Suicide Squad cut when these Suicide Squad's coming out? I don't think so. I really don't. I think Discovery, new executives, clean house, then we can maybe show Discovery what we want. But it's going to be a long time for people to campaign. Can people campaign for 3 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But how much more campaign needs to be done? The movie stands on its own, and the movie talks for itself. Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's number 2 in the UK. It was a big hit. Movie talks for itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if so many campaigns will change their mind or show them. They have the numbers for the Snyder Cut. Did well, so that's what they can gauge their expectancy on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right that we don't need more campaigns for this. I don't think that the fans asking for stuff is going to change anything, because they know that there's demand. They know Zack Snyder is winning. He showed with the movie, everyone liked it. Rotten Tomatoes, it was 70% around that with critics and 95% with the audience. He finally gave Warner Brothers what they've always wanted from him, and they know that Zack can be successful in his movies, and he is he's a very hot director right now in Hollywood. They know all that. You don't have to prove that to them. They know the numbers. They know everything. They still don't want to work with Zack Snyder. That's just something that you cannot change, no matter how many campaigns you do. So like you said, when Discovery takes over, maybe the management will change, and then we can say that, oh, look, we need this, and there's a lot of audience for this. Then they can probably check into that, and obviously see that the results are there. They have the data, they can see everything, and then it could be possible. But for now, I would say with the current management, they know the numbers, they have the data. You don't have to keep saying that, oh, look, we did 1 million tweets, we did this much, we did that much. It's not going to happen with that, because this time it's not about how much demand is there or how much hype is there. It's not about that. It's personally, they just don't want to work with Zack Snyder. So you can't change someone's mind when things got so heated and toxic that he doesn't even want to return if they are still there. So there's that. And I also think that you shouldn't just forget that it's going to ever happen and give up. I do think that at some point in our lives, it still may happen. A lot of movies get sequels like 15, 20 years later. I'm not saying that that's how much it will take, but I'm just saying that the excitement and hype never dies. It's always going to be there. So you just have to be patient and wait for it.
Look, we got a Blade Runner sequel. We got a sequel to The Shining. We got a sequel. Indiana Jones 5 is filming. Never say never with any of these projects. So,
Yeah.
even movies that came out and did so poor at the box office, they got sequels of it 20 years later, 15 years later, but because there was an audience there first, like over time, or I think it will happen at some point. No point being negative about it, but yeah, I think some expansion of this world will exist, and we'll be there hopefully to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joss L. Edis brings up a great point. Personally, I think after Discovery's merger, they'll continue the Snyderverse with James Wan and Ben Affleck directing and Zack Snyder producing. That's another discussion that a lot of people are starting to have right now. That if they want to do that and they don't want Zack Snyder, maybe they can hire a different director and a screenwriter who can actually take the story from Zack and write the script in a way that pleases Warner Brothers and everybody and is the best for the project, whatever. And would you be up for that? Because that's another way it could happen, either 5 to 7 years from now, or if you want it, in 2 years or 3 years, whatever, you'll have to hire someone else to do it. So Zack could be producing. They could be using his story. He could give all the plot points and directions and stuff to the director, and the director will go with his crew and make the movie. That's another option. So maybe that's one way to do it. And the original Star Wars trilogy was done by different directors. The sequel trilogy is done by different directors. Star Trek is done by different directors. A lot of franchises start somewhere, they go into somewhere, and it happens all the time. So it's not a new concept. So if they still want to bring James Wan in, I think that would be a pretty good thing. If they want to bring in Ben Affleck to direct, that's, I think, the best possible thing, because he's the person who sees eye to eye with Zack the most. And then having Jared Leto there, Deathstroke, all that stuff would be pretty amazing if actually Ben Affleck came back to direct it. That's one way of making it happen. So would you be down for such a concept of bringing other filmmakers and having Zach on as a creative input, just for as a producer? Would you be down for that?
Yeah, of course. No, it's get to see the continuation of these characters and these stories in any form. I'll take it. I really will. Like, he's a producer and a hands-on producer. Do it. People were saying David Ayer. I wouldn't choose David
Yeah,
Ayer, to be honest.
not for Justice League. I
Um,
don't think so.
I, I no, I love David Ayer. I think he's great with assembled cast. But I'd give him something different. I think maybe even I think he'd do pretty well for Justice League Dark. That kind of crew. It would suit him a lot more, maybe. But yeah, James Wan or Ben Affleck, or I don't know, like, who else would you get? But any of those would be fantastic if Zach can't do it. If Zach is not the first choice,
Yeah,
then yeah, James Wan is fantastic. So
yeah,
yeah, let's hope. As long as it happens, I don't mind who does it.
yeah.
As long as it's done in the vision, the world that he
Yeah,
wants.
me too. I was before I was also this like, no, Zack Snyder has to make it. I was that guy, but now I'm more open to it because I just want the story to be the same, because it's still Zack's story, right? So I just want a story to be same, and if the movies are made in a similar style to the Snyderverse, I would really appreciate that. But Naveen also says that Discovery should let Zack Snyder finish Justice League 2 and 3 as one big series, just one big series. So yeah, that's also another possibility. Zack Snyder, just like Raised by Wolves, Ridley Scott was attached as a producer, but he wasn't the showrunner and he wasn't hands on in every single scene. But it still feels like it's kind of Ridley Scott, style. So Zach could hire someone like that, and they could be the showrunner. They could make the series. Zach could be a producer. Same thing, the story could be taken from Zach. And they could just honor Zach's story by consulting him. That would be the best scenario, I think, because a series will likely turn more profit for HBO Max. We've always been saying that series would be more profitable for HBO Max and much more in their favor as well, because they are so shy about general audience, box office, and all that stuff. So keeping it on HBO Max would actually benefit them as well. So it's a good deal, I think. And if that's a possibility, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I agree. It would be awesome anyway, as long as he's involved in some way. So yeah,
Exactly. So, yeah, with that, we have concluded all of the topics for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. We loved interacting with you, and thank you for, um, you know, commenting on stuff and giving your theories and everything. Um, we'll be back on Wednesday. I know the Wednesday timing is not fixed for every week, and we're still figuring it out because my shift changed and I was busy this week. So we'll be figuring that out soon. Because it's very late for Maher. He does the Wednesday show at 1 a.m. So that also sucks. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Make sure you subscribe, share, and press like. That helps us a lot, and we are definitely growing our channel in a very steady fashion. So I really really appreciate you guys helping out with this, and we have just created a group chat on Twitter for the Real Talk members, and go ahead and message us or like or retweet the tweet that we announced it on, so that I can add you there. We'll be sharing stuff about movies, TV shows, latest news. We'll discuss, we'll have discussions about films, what stuff we liked, what stuff we didn't like. It's a very cool group where everyone is very respectful of each other. So I was hoping to build a community with our channel, and that's what we are doing. We want to create a place where we all can talk to each other about movies, TV shows, and all the favorite things that we love, even Star Wars, DC, Marvel, whatever you like.
yeah, and in a respectful way.
Exactly, that's the
No,
important thing.
no, and it's a movie channel. It's not it's this people or anything like that. That's all we want to talk about is the news.
Yeah. So make sure you follow us at The Real Talk Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We post regular updates, and we also post clips from our streams about the topics individually for those of you who missed it. So keep an eye on that. And you can find me at Krypton Caged on all social media. Where can they find you, Mar?
Yes, movies that matter on all social media as well, and for quick news updates, TikTok is doing pretty well for me as well, and Instagram Reels. I posted posted the new Chucky trailer. We actually pretty should have talked about it last week, but it got like over 5,000 views, so I was pretty happy with that. But like it's interesting how you can post like on TikTok's a good way to follow me or even to find out movie news pretty quickly because it's snap put it out there. So it's really quick. So definitely go follow me there and yeah, Twitter as always if you want to interact with me.
Awesome. All right, then. See you guys. Take care and stay safe. And we'll see you on the next one.